Right now, Trump has threatened Iran by saying, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight." This man is a harsh mirror of what this country's legacy of unchecked capitalism, colonialism, racism, and patriarchy has arrived us to. This man and his administration policy choices are rooted in hatred and violence and no fiscal intelligence. His administration's policy response to homelessness has been to cut rent assistance, harsher enforcement of laws that criminalize poverty, addiction, and not having a home, increasing funding to build more congregate shelters, eerily similar to the increase in ICE detention centers, and increased LIHTC funding, which has proven to create less and less affordable housing with rents that poor and working class people can actually afford. And the uncomfortable truth is that the city of Portland's policy response to homelessness is the same as the Trump administration. This city has focused on policy responses that seem to hope that with enough punitive measures, people will suddenly bootstrap their way out of homelessness.
I almost became homeless since last year because I had an emergency crisis and there was no assistance out there. And I fight every time we come here, every county meeting, every city meeting. I didn't make it last night because I was in too much pain, but my point is that I've been homeless. I've been in the gutter.
My name is Otis Britton. I'm with Welcome Home Coalition. I understand everything that's going on, but let me tell you something. I have witnessed true homelessness. I've been homeless for 20 years. I went to a shelter and they housed me. It's like the city is putting us in housing and then setting us up for failure when we can't pay our rent. My building is people in there 55, 60, and they facing going back to stage one, the streets. Portland is a beautiful city. I love Portland. And I love my country, and I fought for my country. And for this, to see all this going on, it pains my heart. I remember seeing on the news, y'all was saying that y'all want to clean up homelessness. But if you set people back out to the streets, how you gonna set an example? It's gonna be back to square one. Now, if you get $967 a month and your rent is $850 a month, where you gonna buy your food at? How you gonna pay your electricity? The money that you have, you can make a decision. It can only get better with rental assistance.
The cost of living goes up. Affordable housing is not affordable. Wages stay stagnant, and the conditions of properties do not improve with each rent increase. This only perpetuates the cycle of homelessness where we can prevent it before it starts. We need emergency rental assistance to keep households afloat while we figure out how to do more than the bare minimum for our communities.
There was a big spike in eviction filings in January, and 12%, in Multnomah County that was 13%. Over 90% of those cases are non-payment of rent cases. Those are safety net failure evictions, and rent assistance can keep tenants housed in those situations. The average, as Councilor Novick noted, is about less than 13,000, but I saw a filing in the docket just looking today from a February filing that was $47 that was at issue in the case. That's less than the filing fee to take the case to court. Another case I was looking at was for $220 that was at issue in the eviction. The tenant went to court. She didn't have a lawyer. She negotiated with the landlord's lawyer, and she sat into payment plan for over $7,000 on a $220 eviction. Of course, she didn't make those terms that also included the landlord's fees. She got a judgment against her and she got evicted. We could have.
It's hard to believe that in the last 6 months, the city of Portland has uncovered millions in unspent housing funds, unspent, unused, while people fell into homelessness, waiting for help. While we are desperate for permanently affordable housing.
From our vantage point, furnishing homes for thousands of families each year, full spectrum housing investments are what make the system work. When someone gets a housing voucher but has no furniture, their housing isn't functional or stable. The data shows when people transitioning out of homelessness receive coordinated support, they're most likely to succeed. Also, prevention is exponentially more effective than crisis response. The biggest indicator if someone will experience homelessness is if they've experienced it before. Eviction prevention must remain a priority. While this budget fills some gaps, we know it doesn't resolve everything, and we cannot keep making reactive decisions in crisis mode. Community Warehouse joins the Welcome Home Coalition and Housing Oregon in calling for the city and county to collectively and immediately map FY27 resources and gaps across all funding streams.
Good afternoon, Council and committee members. My name is Crystal Delahanty, and I'm the Executive Director of PDX Saints Love and a steering committee member for Welcome Home. I'm here alongside our collective of providers, advocates, and community members in strong support of the Keep Portland Housed resolution. We support this because it reflects what we are seeing every day. Homelessness is being driven by economic displacement. In 2025, thousands of people became homeless for the very first time in their lives. This was also followed by approximately 12,000 evictions filed, and I found out this morning, just year to date, 3,058 evictions filed this quarter. Families are not falling into homelessness because of a single crisis. They are being priced out and left without stabilization. It costs double or sometimes triple to rehouse an individual once they're in the court system, which shows us that it's not only less traumatizing for the people, but also cost efficient for all of us. People should not have to face the devastation of eviction before they deserve a life raft from us.
I want to underscore also that it is exponentially more cost-effective to intervene with eviction prevention, housing stability efforts before an eviction is filed. Arab sisters, we can help prevent eviction for up to 10 households, if not more, who are at risk of losing their housing, as opposed to only one household who has had an eviction notice for the same amount of money.
For families living month to month, facing rising rents or the constant fear of eviction, timing matters. Delays don't just slow outcomes, they deepen harm. For those experiencing homelessness or displacement, we can't wait weeks or months to provide desperately needed help. Tomorrow is often too late. This is why expediency is essential. We strongly encourage the committee and council to align and approve this order.
Hi, thank you for letting me be here. My name is Amon Rutherford, also with Welcome Home. I'm a person that lives with lived experience, and I testified it many times, but this is the first time I'm testifying saying that I'm not homeless. But because of how the system is working, I might be back in a homeless situation because I can't afford to pay rent. I got 3 jobs. I do the best I can, but the system is not working with fathers to be a father to his child. And the system told me to come here to be a father to my kid, but they didn't care about if I was homeless or not. So I'm hoping that you guys, care about fathers and allow fathers to be there for their kids, because that's what I was here for. And as my baby's mom celebrate her birthday, I'm here talking to you guys. And hopefully I don't be evicted, but I need help. So I need that rent assistance because I don't want to go back to a shelter.
I've experienced homelessness for more than 8 years. And I'll tell you, if we don't do something, if we don't curb this, the crime rate will skyrocket, and it will be overnight. So I thank you guys for allowing all of us who have spoken to come and let you guys know that in the streets, it's real. In these boardrooms, it's real also. But we have to do something because we have this power.
Thank you.
And in the voice of Dr. Maya Angelou, still I rise.
I have watched the city that raised me, that I love, grow increasingly unaffordable and continue to witness the impacts of that unaffordability. Myself and the people I went to school with and grew up with are not only unable to afford the neighborhoods that we grew up in, we are ending up homeless, like myself. Portland can no longer be said to be the place where young people go to retire, which was the appeal for so many people who moved here the past 20 years. We have the incredible opportunity to use these supplemental funds to target upstream measures that will stabilize and protect Portlanders.
Since 2022, Next Step has paid all program participants this year starting $23 an hour, because we know that despite housing being a human right, our young people are being crushed by this manufactured affordability crisis. All Portlanders deserve to have access to stable and secure housing, and as such, we urge you to pass the Keep Portland House resolution with amendments suggested by the Welcome Home Coalition. As someone who was raised in a studio apartment by a single mother in a city that luckily had rent control, I want to see all Portland Housing Bureau dollars directed towards the people that need this most.
All our local data shows that investing in housing stability and paths to housing is the most effective way to reverse our terrible track record. Comparing 2025 costs and outcomes explains why. Specifically in 2025, eviction prevention with rent assistance cost approximately $11,000 per person, where 92% of participants stayed housed. Permanent supportive housing cost $16,000 per person, where 92% of recipients stayed housed. By comparison, congregate shelter cost $37,000 per bed. However, because only one person got housed for every 2 beds operated, the real cost of that one person getting into housing was actually $82,179. Meanwhile, the Safe Rest Task Villages cost average of $51,000 per pod. However, because only one person got housing for every 4 pods operated, the real cost to housing one person in the village was $244,530.
Let's be clear, this is not simply a sanitation issue. This is not about inconvenience. This is about the visible, unavoidable evidence of a system that is failing its people at the most basic level. When human beings are forced to live without access to housing, restrooms, or stability, this is the outcome. No person, no man, no woman, or child should be sleeping in the streets, surrounded by insects, rodents, and exposures in the city with resources and capacity that Portland has. So I ask you all, why are we still responding with temporary fixes to a permanent problem? Why are we tolerating conditions that degrade both those experiencing homelessness and the broader community? If we are serious about addressing the crisis, then a response must match the scale of the problem. We need to invest in the housing that is truly accessible, not just theoretically available. We need strong, proactive eviction prevention so families do not fall into homelessness. We need coordinated long-term strategies designed to reduce and ultimately end homelessness, not just to move it from one block to another. Because cleaner streets are not achieved through displacement, they're achieved through stability.
On the ground in East Portland, sweeps have increased dramatically, but unlike the sweeps touted by the city's social media, there are no outreach workers visiting people living there unsheltered and offering them resources. Please pass this crucial ordinance and please prioritize geographic equity. Thank you.